substitute for meat. They provide you all the protein that you need. They have no cholesterol in them. Lentils have no negative side. There is no negative side to lentils. You make them, put them in your diet, you will not have constipation, I can tell you that. Unless you are so messed up that you are jam-packed. You know, a lot of people are walking around with 15 to 20 pounds of stuff all the time in there. It's normal to have 5 pounds. That's normal physiology. People often have 15, 20 pounds, then there are toxins sitting there, they get hardened because the water gets reabsorbed, cause all kind of problems. I tell people your gut is the second brain. Your brain will go to sleep if you have too much, you know what, in there. You can't think, your acuity, mental acuity is compromised. You can't understand what the other person is saying. You want to fall asleep. It's almost like a drug. It makes you really unhealthy. You're fatigued all the time. So that's very important. Gut is after the brain is probably, if you think about it, gut is the only organ that you deal with directly. It goes this way and comes out the other. That's what you do 24/7. So it's very, very important. Now it's very important, I'll tell you a little bit later how to prepare foods because that's very important. If you say you use olive oil, but remember if you heat up olive oil a little too much, all the unsaturated fat immediately turns into saturated fat. That's the one you want to avoid. So that's why those of you are confused. You know, I heard two things about olive oil. I heard good thing and a bad thing. This is what they're trying to say, which they don't explain. Olive oil you put on salad or something's wonderful. It has all the omega-3 fatty acid. You heat up too much, so you have to maybe use that Chinese wok or something that it doesn't heat up too much. Then it's good for you if you want to use it for cooking. Next category, soy. Again, caution, look for, I'm really paranoid about it, no GMO. You want to make sure it's not genetically engineered. As long as you can make sure it's not genetically engineered, you are in good shape. I know there are some controversies. They did studies. They are not really sure if it lowers your cholesterol. Then there are other studies. Well, one study showed lowers the risk of breast cancer. Another one showed maybe it raises the risk of breast cancer. The bottom line is this. Soya has everything in it that you need. You're not drinking it for cholesterol or breast disease. Yeah, that exceptional patient who has breast cancer, you can consult your doctor. You can specifically look at it and make sure that the type of breast cancer doesn't have the estrogen receptors because soya has some natural estrogen. Don't give it to that patient. You are really drinking soya for many, many other reasons. It's not just for lowering your cholesterol because there are other things you can do for cholesterol, even if it's true that it doesn't lower your cholesterol because it has less saturated fat than any other meat that you will eat. And it lowers your, there are studies that are inconclusive about the breast cancer, but there are many studies that are positive about this. It has a lot of fiber and protein in it, and it has really no negative side to soya. I think it should be part of the diet, routine diet. Let's look at the next group, fat-free dairy products. Go for skimmed milk or use soya. Skimmed milk gives you everything that you need, and the bad things are taken out. It has minerals, it has proteins, it has a B vitamin complex. It reduces the risk of stroke, colon cancer, obesity. It reduces high blood pressure. There's many, many benefits. The next group is berries. Yeah.
You mean non-fat milk?
Yeah, non-fat. Yes, skimmed milk means no fat in it. Don't look at 1% or 2% because that's a gimmick. Yes.
What about almond milk?
Almond milk. Well, if almonds, like I said, are good, then almond milk is really the same thing. Yes. Almonds and walnuts are the two on the list of nuts should be part of your diet.
Are you familiar with research comparing soy milk to almond milk?
No, I'm not familiar. I'm sure there's tons of research on that, but I'm not. Okay, then we move on and give you another group of berries. Now berries, if the king of all fruits, if you want to say what do I eat, like I said, look at 5 colors. Don't think too much about it. Don't make it complicated for you. But it's generally good to remember that berries, and the king of berries is also blueberry. You can eat blackberries and other berries. Why? Because these things are, they are full of antioxidants. They're very rich in antioxidants, flavonoids. They lower your risk of all cancers and cardiovascular disease, heart attacks. They help you lose weight. Just be careful about eating too much dried fruits. It's just like the nuts. The problem is high calories. You have to, remember we said in the beginning that calorie restriction is actually one of the things that wake up that sleeping gene, longevity gene, that gives you extra years and healthy years to live. So calories you always have to, you can't say these foods are good, so you double up on it, because that will defeat the purpose. Now you are creating other problems. Broccoli and cauliflower, the king and the queen of vegetables, if that's what you want to look at that way. Why? They are loaded with vitamin C, and vitamin C we will talk about it later. Linus Pauling, who got Nobel Prize for chemistry, he kind of first time about almost 15-20 years ago, I think, made a big deal. He did a lot of research. He has a website, and study after study after study is positive about vitamin C, and we're going to go into that later on. Broccoli and cauliflower, they are also loaded with vitamin A. So look for cauliflower, broccoli, or things that look similar, like cruciferous vegetables like cabbage and things that have roughage in it. Brussels sprouts, bok choy, kali, things like that. Because they have all these phytochemicals, plant chemicals that we were talking about. They have larger number of phytochemicals than any other vegetables. So they are rich in all these things. They're rich in fiber. They have no cholesterol. They are very low in fat. They are very low in calories. It's like broccoli and cauliflower is so good. It's hard to find anything negative about them. Tomatoes is the next group. Tomato is very rich in vitamin C and B complex. It has iron in it, it has potassium, and it has that one of the very important phytochemical called lycopene that I told you about. And it lowers the risk of heart attacks, prostate cancer, possibly other types of cancers as well. Last one, that number 10, is green tea. And green tea, all studies have been positive. Yeah, we don't get the high quality green teas here. You have to go to China. I think the best you can do is look for some Asian Chinese store. They may have a higher quality green tea. Because it has a flavonoid in it. It's called abigallocatechin gallate, which inhibits enzyme activity which is necessary to cause tumor growth. So there is a chemical which promotes the growth of cancer, and it blocks that chemical that encourages tumors to grow. So it's very anti-cancer. So green tea is continue to be being studied by scientists, and we are finding out so far everything has been really positive about green tea. So those are the 10 foods if you introduce in your diet, and even if you decided that, that's all I'm going to eat, and there's enough variety in there, you can live a really very healthy life. Now, Mayo Clinic has been doing a lot of trials and studies on about 100 different herbs and supplements. I divide them into 3 categories. Again, for your convenience, for me to make it much easier to make sense, otherwise it can be very bewildering. And you might say, why talk about only 100? Why not talk about 200 or 1,000, because Lassens has 100,000 products. I can tell you that outside the scope of these 100 things that I'm going to mention, the ones that you take, there are 3 things possible. Either they work and I haven't researched, or it has not come to someone's attention, but that is unlikely. It is more likely that these things don't work. Because if they work, they might have directly or indirectly or somehow come to the attention of people who want to do research, because they analyze vast data before they choose to spend that money on research. It costs a lot of money to conduct trials for 4 or 5 years, larger groups, take thousands of people and giving it to half of them in the control group, they give placebo, and then to record the data, then finally. So before they spend their money or grants from the government or whatever sources, they look at that. So that is my kind of rationale to think that probably 90%, 80% of the things out there, they are probably just a hype. That's a belief system which has been propagated in different cultures from generation to generation. But it's not black and white. Life is not black and white. Life is not science. It goes beyond science. So let's not get stuck to science like we cannot think any further. It's not like that. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when you take something, it works for you, you want to know why? Because your thought tells you that this is going to work for me. You will listen, you will learn in the next seminar how thought controls body's chemistry, how belief changes everything about you. You may believe in something which is a poppycock, complete nonsense. A lot of us do believe in things, all kind of superstitions, religious beliefs. But guess what? They work. They may not have any inherent value, but they have value in the sense that you came to believe that it's going to work on you. And it does. And it's good medicine. Medical board is going to think he's promoting placebos. Go take his license. But the thing is, placebo is a better medicine overall. When you look at the entire picture of 6.5, 7 billion people on this planet, placebos cure more people than medications, pharmaceuticals. The reason is very simple, is because your body is designed to heal itself. If a drug maker or a doctor is going to tell me that you are sick, that I'm going to cure you by giving you something, he's not curing you. I think he cannot be more foolish than that by just making that statement. Because you don't cure anybody, it's your body. You can assist the body sometimes, it's going off the cliff with the medication. But it's really your own body which cures itself. You start the process, you heal yourself. Body has the inherent ability to heal itself. That's what osteopaths believe. That's osteopathic philosophy. That's where it's just a basic fundamental different belief that they have, which is very true, that your body has the capability of healing itself. It's not the drugs that heal you, it's your own body that heals you in most cases. So what I was saying, what am I talking now? Going all over the place. So we're going to take these 100 supplements and divide them into 3 categories for simplicity. The things that I say thumbs up, they have given positive results, and what I really mean by thumbs up, that you can take it on your own. If you're not taking any risk, you don't even have to consult your doctor. Why? Because safety studies show that whether it works or not, first of all it works because most studies are positive, scientifically done, and the safety profile is pretty good. In other words, the risk is very little. A lot of people have misconception that herbs, these are just herbs, they don't hurt you. Herbs can kill you too. You will learn that today. And just people take things, sometimes that could cause serious problems. We had a patient recently did surgery. She didn't tell me she was taking. I said, "You taking any herbs?" She didn't tell me. And when we did surgery,